welcome back to another episode of Underdog Podcast. It's been a while. It's been a month or so. I don't even know the last time I did a podcast, which is funny because the last time I did a podcast, I said the exact same thing. Um, in short, I know I talked to you guys before about trying to get disability rating and stuff from the VA. I did an increase. I did two increases and two new disability claims back in May. I'm at 93%. All I have to do is get to 95%. So all I would need out of the two new increases and or the two new disability claims, all I need is 10% from two. So out of four opportunities, four fucking chances, all I need was a 10% for one and a 10% for another. That would have gave me the full, that would have gave me 95%, which gives you the full disability pay without all the full medical benefits, as far as like including my dependents and stuff, my kids, rather on the health insurance, because I don't have no health insurance for the kids. It's kind of a little bit through their mother, but far as at least for right now. But even but yeah, so the VA only provides medical insurance for myself. So with that being said, I did not get the fucking increase. I did not get a new disability claims, which I figured the new disability claims were kind of a reach. But just trying, because everything that I have complained about, that I have mentioned and stuff that is wrong with me, is nothing new. Far as in terms of the military or the DOD or the VA, really the VA, because the VA knows these things have happened and these things will happen. So my deployment in my 12-year career, nothing new. Me being exposed to certain toxins and chemicals, food, water, pesticides, blah, blah. It causes all types of different reactions to the body, mentally, physically. So none of the stuff I'm saying is new. There's no fraud case. Clearly, come at 93%. But what a dick fucking move, right? Let's be honest. Let's call it what it is. What a dick move. 93%, 95%. As if 10% more or anything in the calculation of the VA is going to make any difference. As if I don't struggle with disabilities every fucking day of my life and for the rest of my life. And the quality of my life has completely decreased. So these past couple weeks, these past month and stuff, pretty much this past month, I've just been trying to find different jobs, to make up the other income and stuff, and things like that. Because my investments have been paid. I've been paying off for a long time, but you guys still keep more coming in than what you got going out and stuff. And I'm not replacing what is going out as much as, I'm not replacing what is, everything that's going out. I'm not replacing it with a lot or to equal that match that is coming in or that should come in. I'm saying it all wrong, but I think y'all get what I'm saying. The input needs to equal the output, but it's not. and I'm not still, of course, I still get my paycheck anyways as well. But and really, in all honesty, most homes are not single parent homes, and if they are, they usually have child support or some of that. I don't get child support, and I'm not really looking for that anyways from my ex-wife. Even though I had the kids full time, I'm not. That's a whole nother topic. But my mindset is all that bullshit they talk in the military and stuff like that. As far as you see all the commercials and join the military, we care about our veterans. We all know, like, that's bullshit. And I think people kind of realize it's bullshit, but yet I don't think people understand how much bullshit it is to sit there. We care about veterans, this and that. Yet veterans have to fight so hard for their own fucking benefits in which they earn. 12-year career. Right, did overseas tours, did a deployment, tons of training, all those stuff, tons of accommodations and medals. Really great career, and I had to sit here and fight for things. And sometimes people get caught up in the bullshit of it all, as far as the imagery of, if you're not within direct combat, then it's not as serious. But that's bullshit. Think of a movie. Think of all the side characters in a movie. That's usually where you have military operatives or people in military uniform, stuff like that. And think about like the medical people or the people just doing the data analysis or people that are just on station on base and stuff overseas. When a bomb drops or something happens to them and they get killed, no one cares. But everyone puts all the emotions and pride into the person that goes out into the combat with a gun and stuff. Where if you're in the military, everyone your life is at risk. Period. Your life is at risk, and you're trained to take someone else's life. No matter what your job is, no matter what the position holds, at the end of the day, we all come to the same thing. But at the same time, obviously, if you're infantry, stuff like that, you will be pushed to the forefront of that type of thing. But that's your choice. That's what it comes down to. Some people might not like it. Everybody likes to hear the stories of American sniper and stuff like that. Yet no one wants to sit and think, hey, what's wrong with this person to begin with to make them want to go out and shoot someone in the fucking head from a long distance? Anyways, that doesn't matter. I'm not going to go back and forth and debate over semantics as far as how we are perceived as far as veterans go. But yeah, yeah. And then even my job offers I received and stuff, I got job offers, but it doesn't work with my schedule as far as me trying to be a single parent. I can go into work early, but I want to be off around 4 o'clock, 3:30, 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock. You know, kids got practice and stuff like that. I'm coaching basketball. Season's starting up. Training, conditioning, stuff like that this month. Then the season starts next month. We'll have tryouts at the school, high school basketball, JV, more or less. I'll be focusing on and stuff like that. So it's like, man, trying to do all those different little things and whatnot is kind of annoying as far as being a single parent. Because once again, if I was in a household with another individual, as far as adult wise, well, these issues wouldn't be as prevalent, right? Because there's another adult I can count on, but I count on my kids and being in the seventh and fifth grade, they're getting older. So yeah, but I also don't want to. They can handle themselves for the most part, but I also don't want to cut out their lives. They want to be able to do things where they can go to school, have fun, do different stuff around the house and whatnot, and not go to school, have fun. All the stuff after school, my fault. All the after school activities, practices, socializing with friends, all of that's different types of stuff. So, but it all happens for a reason. I know I'll find the right job and whatnot, but that more or less that was just for my consistent listeners, just kind of let you guys know where I've been at lately and stuff. But so expect me to kind of pop in and out periodically about different things. But what had gotten me on a podcast today is the Matrix 4. And I'm really excited about it. I'm really excited about the Matrix 4, which is hard for me because, all these movies these past years suck ass, right? It is trash. Mortal Kombat, fucking trash. Suicide Squad was decent. I actually enjoyed that. I laughed at it and stuff, and I liked it because I didn't. To me, Suicide Squad is not something to really be taken seriously. Like it's a lot of like the Suicide Squad always just has it's just throwaway characters. I wouldn't say throwaway character, but it's a bunch of side villain characters or characters that are kind of bounce back and forth between good and bad and stuff like that. But that was decent. Shang Chi, I heard about that and stuff, and I don't know. I don't trust that movie. People are like, oh, it's so good and stuff. I don't trust it. Something about it just don't. The trailer doesn't even look good. And then watching Free Guys last week, that was good. That was good. It was average. Ryan Reynolds brings in his comedy anyway, so I like Ryan Reynolds, so that was good. But I say all that because with this Matrix 4 trailer, and if you haven't watched it, go ahead and watch it. I'm not gonna play the trailer. WB copyright laws, I'm fucking on YouTube. I did that before with Mortal Kombat. Yeah, I just don't even feel like doing it. So go ahead and check out the trailer. Obviously, if you're gonna watch this and listen to this, you probably already seen the trailer, or you gonna pop in or pop over, watch it for a couple minutes, and pop on back to listening or watching this podcast. So what I've seen some of the comments and some of the things from other YouTubers talking about Matrix 4, some of them were like, oh, they don't seem it seems interesting. And some of them are like, I think I was watching the quarter and he was more or less talking about, he was more worried about, woke messages and stuff like that, which I get. A lot of these Hollywood movies been having this stuff ramped up, especially the past few years. But the Matrix 4 was already kind of woke itself. Like it already had, diversity and stuff. It already had some different sexuality and stuff like certain characters. It just wasn't always in your face. And so when I watched The Matrix as a kid, I understood it, but I didn't know how much depth it went into. Because Matrix Reloaded and Matrix Revolutions came out, 2003? Yeah, okay, yeah. I remember they came out in the same year, back to back, which is cool. And it should have been I think it was like it was my sophomore and junior year, kind of split up. And I understood a little bit, but it's a lot in the Matrix movies so to unpack. And I think that goes over people's heads. The Wachowskis, where you like them or not and stuff, beyond their personal decisions for their, as far as their sexuality and stuff like that, I always like their movies. And because their movies always seem to capture a massive another universe. Even like with Jupiter Ascending, some people didn't like that and stuff, but I liked it, right? Cloud Atlas, I liked it because there seems to be a massive universe and there's tons of questions and it's always thought provoking to me. Even since eight, I like that shit too. Now, the second season got a little bit on my nerves stuff because it kind of dove too much into all this other whatever stuff they got going on. But at the same time, it encompasses, the idea of human beings connected to each other in a sensual, emotional sense and stuff like that and whatnot. So I like their movies and how they do their adaptations of certain books, stuff like that. It encompasses a lot of thought provoking aspects. So with the Matrix, people just see actions, right? But it's so much more than that. So much more than just actions and the cinematography and the way certain things look. So with this new Matrix movie, some people are just kind of like, oh well, how's Neo back? And it's like, what the fuck did y'all not? And it also goes to the fact that people didn't realize that there was. Hell, I didn't even notice the Matrix Online was a thing. Matrix Online is a video game. It was an MMO, one of those MMO RPGs. So it came out in 2005, ran until 2009, I believe. And I was watching YouTube videos last night and yesterday about it, or last night. Yes, that's the same fucking thing. Last what's today? Friday. I was watching it. Yeah, I was watching on Friday and Saturday. Today's Sunday. So I was checking those out, and I was like, God damn, I forgot how. Like I didn't know nothing about the Matrix Online. I didn't know the Matrix Online continued the fucking story from Matrix Revolutions. Cause I remember the Animatrix. I remember that came out in 2003 and stuff, and I never really got to watch all of them. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm cheap, so I was trying to find it for free and stuff. And I seen a couple of them on HBO when I was a kid and stuff. But every time I try to find it, I might see like one or two episodes. But now they have it on HBO Max, the full length thing, all played out, all in a row too. So if you get a chance, check that out. The Animatrix. It gives into all the backstories and lets you know that so much other stuff is going on in there. Like we always see Neo and Trinity and Morpheus, and it kind of be able to do more of the, especially with Neo being an anomaly and stuff, and Agent Smith being able to do all these incredible godlike powers within the Matrix, and but also with Morpheus able to do certain things in the first Matrix, he was able to hold his own for a little bit against one of the agents, and even to be able to survive that shows you how much he was able to push himself. So it in that first movie alone, it already lets you know that even the regular human being is able to push the envelope of their mind and stuff and push past these so-called barriers that the Matrix has over the human mind and kind of expand beyond that and more than just the long jumps or the exaggerated spins stuff like that. And in the Animatrix, you saw some of that, and I think one of them, what was the title, World Record, where the guy's running and he's breaking past the limits of his body and stuff in that Matrix, and being fast as he could possibly be to break the world record within the Matrix. And because he did that, he kind of broke free and physically broke free and woke up in the real world. So there's always these different types of individuals throughout the Matrix universe itself that are able to kind of do certain things. Now, like I said, I was mentioning about people on YouTube and stuff, and talking about even within the comment section, talking about, oh well, how is Trinity able to do this? Is Trinity gonna take over as a new Neo? No, no. So what happened is, when only way Agent Smith became Agent Smith was because Neo jumped into him in the first movie and kind of, in order to get rid of him and delete him, but also his code kind of went into some of him or whatever. And that's why I reloaded. Smith was like, hey, you created me. You saw, so like, you did something to me. And more, and then just woke up. And also, even within the machines themselves, the programs within the Matrix are starting to be like, hey, you know what? I want to do what the fuck I want to do. And this whole so-called free choice thing, or free will, this whole choice thing, why can't have one? Like, I should be able to have something. Like, so you kind of see that some of these programs can go rogue. Obviously, with the Frenchman, Menovarian, and even his wife, and then some of the other programs, they're able to kind of go rogue and kind of do what they want. But it seems like the overall machine entity, or the head machine, which is your Dos Machina, which you kind of see in Matrix Revolutions, that it kind of makes a form of a human face, whatever. It kind of acknowledges that, yeah, you know what, some of this shit is out of our control. But the overall thing is machines versus humans, and the reason that came about was because the machines decided to kind of get away from the humans, because the humans tried to kill all the machines, because one machine snapped on the so-called masters, whatever, and decided, oh, you know what, we're done with these machines. This machine is over with, and blah blah, and stuff like that. Like I said, check out Animatrix, because it literally gives you the origin story of how the war started. Humans struck first, because humans got mad and killed all and started to destroy machines after one machine, one robot, whatever, killed killed the family that he was a part of or whatnot. Let's say a servant to, or whatever you want to say. But yeah. So in this new one, you see the blue-haired girl, which comes to find out her name is Bugs. She played Colleen Ween in Iron Fist, which I like her, so I'm okay with that. I'm all for her. Jessica Henwick, and then I can't say this, Yahya Mateen, or whatever his name is. I think it was, I forget whatever movie he's in and stuff, but he's gonna be playing Morpheus, which you come out and acknowledge that he is Morpheus. And some people are confused as, how is he Morpheus when clearly he doesn't look like Morpheus? So the thing is, people are calling this Matrix 4 movie a reboot. It's not a reboot, it's a continuation. I don't know where, because it goes along with people maybe not understanding the Animatrix, maybe not know it, definitely not knowing the Matrix Online. Like, me find out what the Matrix Online was, and find out that it was a continuation, that the Wachowskis signed off on the plot, the plot themes and stuff, and how it was written. So it fills in that time going in between and stuff. So the new piece is only gonna last so long. At the end of the Matrix Revolutions, you see the Architect and Oracle talking. Then you see Asante coming in. So you can kind of see Asante being taken under the Oracle wing a little bit. And the Matrix trailer, and the Matrix 4 trailer, you can see that the girl with the glasses, I forget her name, which she's gonna be played by. I can't think of the lady's name, but you can tell that might be a older version of Santi, stuff like that. So I'm so intrigued by it, because there's so many questions, there's so many things. Like, it's literally picking up where it left off at. Because some people are like, well, how's Neo have his eyes and stuff? We don't know where Neo's at. So in the Matrix Online series, Neo's body is still held captive, or not held captive. The machines still have Neo's body. I think because the machines are interested to understand who Neo is. Because remember, Neo is like the sixth or seventh iteration of the one of the simulation. So we don't even know what the Matrix is anymore. We don't know what the Matrix looks like. So all the stuff that you're seeing in the trailer, we don't even know if that's actually the Matrix. Because one of the characters actually says, I think his name is Goff, but he's sitting in the chair and he's like, wow, you're really going to go back to the Matrix. So I'll let you know, we don't even know where Neo is at. And in Matrix Online, it was an event where Neo scattered his code all throughout the Matrix. So as we see Morpheus look alike, which once again, we don't even know if Morpheus is always Morpheus, because people forget that they're not actually really humans in the sense of how we are the natural born humans to, you know, out of a woman's vagina, biological sexual reproduction. Remember, there's a difference between the humans born in the real world, like Ajax and his brother in the first Matrix, and then there's people born in the Matrix who are plugged in. Neo and Trinity and Morpheus, they all were plugged into it, because people in the real world can't go into the Matrix who were born into the real world. At least far as we know, far as I know, I don't think any other way. But somehow Neo was able to tap into the Matrix using his brain without having to plug in. So the whole powers of the Matrix or powers of the one is really not powers, because he has no real powers over the natural world. But anything that has to do with the machines, he has some type of influence on, as far as wherever the dynamic of the energy, wherever the energy signature or the computer coding of the machines and the Matrix itself. So we don't even know anything about. We say this is Morpheus. He's saying this is Morpheus, but in the Matrix Online, Morpheus was killed off, and then later on he popped back up. So we don't know if Morpheus is dead or not, and we don't know what the fuck we're looking at. So for people to be like, oh, this and that, like, well, don't forget what you're watching now. You're watching a Matrix. We don't know what the fuck is real. That's the whole point of the Matrix, is to question reality, because you don't know what reality is. And at the same time, you have this whole universe going on where there's another thing where the conflict between the machines and the humans. And then even beyond that, we have the question, what is actually life? Because the machines seem to be sentient, and clearly they're self-aware. But they act like a hive mind collective, but at the same time, they're not a hive mind collective, because individuals, such as the programs within the Matrix, are like, no, we don't feel like doing this shit, such as Agent Smith. And remember, Asante was born out of love between two programs. So there's tons of things to unpack when we talk about the Matrix, more than just a fucking action movie. And that's why it's one of my favorite movies and trilogy as far as those cinematic universes. Is one of my favorite things, because there's so much going on, and it's so thought-provoking that it's more than just an action movie. So as I'm watching this Matrix 4 trailer, I'm like, oh yes, I'm loving it, because within this 2 minutes and 30 seconds, 28 seconds, something like that, I knew there was a lot of shit to unpack. Because Trinity, people were like, oh, Trinity is alive. How's Trinity alive? She's dead. Remember, you don't know what the fuck you're looking at. You don't know if you're looking at the Matrix. You don't know what it is. And then at the same time, she died in the real world, but the machines possibly have her body. And then in the trailer, you see that the machines have her body, and then she's getting plugged into the Matrix, but the plug is not at the back, at the top of the spine where the cerebral cortex is. It's a little bit lower. So now it's like, oh, is there some different plug-in? Is something different that's going on? Because she died, supposedly, but I mean, if the machines picked her up and saved her real quick, then did she actually die? You don't think if they can grow human beings, how do we not know Neo and Trinity are not just fucking clones? Because technically all the humans that are grown, they're just clones. So, and then people forget too that Trinity was always integral and an important part of the one's progression. So Trinity herself is a part of the simulation and has her own purpose. Same as Morpheus is a part of the simulation and has his own purpose. So now we have the question whether each iteration of the Matrix simulation did not always have a Trinity, a Neo, and a Morpheus in some type of variation. And you see through the trailer, Neo's looking in the mirror, and it shows an older version of himself, but it is supposed to be his RSI, his residual self-image. But once again, we don't really know. So take it as this. They show in the trailer that Neo real body is still, the machines still have it. And when you see he's in where he's at, in some type of simulation, he's sitting there talking to the therapist with Neil Patrick Harris character. And he's talking to him. We don't know if that's like the architect or somebody trying to break it down to try to understand what made Neo so different from the rest of them, because the machines are still trying to understand the humans, and they have a hard time. That's why there's so many different iterations of the Matrix, because they're trying to understand how these humans go about and stuff. And the one was always supposed to, you gotta give humans hope, because if you don't give humans hope, they find no reason to live, and they find no reason to live, then the machines can use them as an energy source of sorts. So there's a lot to go on here. And it's like it goes over people's head, but it shouldn't, because the questions that you ask when you're watching the Matrix, they're legitimate questions, and if you pay attention, they're actually answered. People always say that, I hear people talk about, I hear people say the Matrix Reloaded and Revolution wasn't as good and blah blah. I like those movies because it explains shit. I like when movies take the time to explain something. Hell, the end of Matrix Reloaded, he sat there explaining every fucking thing. Every fucking thing. You know how many times I had to watch that shit over the years? Since it came out 2003, I still watch the Matrix trilogy from start to finish, from 1, 2, 3, just to remind myself, and just to, every time I watch it, I see something fucking new. And then I check out YouTube videos. Matrix Explained does a fantastic job of literally breaking out every fucking thing. And there's some other ones too. I can't think of the other one. Neo Matrixology, and there's another one, another channel too. I can't think of. Let's see. I want to see if I can just pull up on my phone real quick, just the name of the channel, so for reference. It's oh, it was right. Yeah, it is Neo Matrixology. So check them out there, and they have different podcasts, stuff like that. But it's really, there's so much going on in the Matrix that I don't think people understand, or maybe people just don't realize, or maybe people are just too fucking lazy to think. And yes, I know other Wachowskis are transgenders now and stuff, and I wouldn't be surprised if they throw some themes into the Matrix movie, this new Matrix 4 movie, about, you know, question of sexuality, all that. But at the same time, you can't call it woke. All right. Maybe people, I always say, be careful of the thing that you despise, because you might fuck around and become the thing that you despise. So I know people don't like the woke agenda and stuff like that, but if you hate it so much, you'll start to find it everywhere, and really your hate is starting to blind you. Because with the Matrix 4, you can't do no woke agenda, because everything's question reality. And so it already feeds into that. No one is really anything, because technically they're not even or they're not humans in the same way that we are humans in a natural born world. Neo is a fucking clone. Trinity is a clone. Now you can always do this. And even Neo being the one, you have to question, was he actually meant to be the one, or was he such an anomaly? Because just like how Morpheus explained that when the Matrix was built, a child was born inside of it and was able to do everything. All right, so with every iteration of the Matrix, does that same story hold? Or is the anomaly that Neo is literally just that? No matter how many times because kind of how the architect would explain it, no matter how many times we built it, it still just kept popping up. But they realized, you know what, it keeps popping up, but let us make him think he's making a choice, and let us always he'll always have a love interest, but he'll always feel so connected to humanity that no matter what, that he'll always choose to say mankind, humanity, the species and stuff, and it just kind of go through it over and over, destroying, rebuilding Zion and whatnot. But at the same time, Neo said, "Fuck all that. I'm gonna go save Trinity." So when he goes save Trinity, he in a sense inserts his code into her in the Matrix. Now, does it affect her body in the real world? We don't know. But he did the same thing that he did to Smith. So you can kind of see that Trinity was a little bit more powerful, more than what we realized, but that always tied into it, except for the fact that he was never supposed to save Trinity. So him saving Trinity threw every fucking thing off. Even what he did with Agent Smith kind of threw everything off. So if Neo's an anomaly and the Agent Smith is a counterbalance of that, there's so many different things, because now you have to wonder, is a Matrix itself separate from the Das Machina machines and the real world? Is the Matrix itself starting to create its own type, not own simulation, but kind of is it trying to rewrite its own things? So someone on YouTube was talking about, I think it was the Corey, was talking about a Jeremy from the corner talking about it doesn't look like the same Matrix, and I think it was Angry Joe. Some other people said it, talking about it doesn't look like it's a Matrix, but we don't know if they're actually in the Matrix. We don't know where the fuck they're at. And you see the looking glass, you see the mirrors and stuff, and they're traveling through the looking glass and different portals, and even within the Matrix trailer itself, they're showing Neo the first movie Matrix. So they're showing the movie of the Matrix within the Matrix, or what we think is the Matrix. We don't even fucking know. That's why I'm so excited for this, because this is what a trailer is supposed to do. Get you excited by getting you to question so many different things. Now, as long as they stick to some type of continuity, which clearly they are, because the Animatrix and the Matrix online. And some of the comic books, I don't know if they're canon or not, but yeah. So you have some of that. So the continuity of it is still intact. Like, it's literally picking up where it left off at, which I was always waiting for. People were like, oh, nobody asked for this movie. I did. Matrix fans did, because just like the first Matrix, it was an open-ended ending, right? Open-ended questions, tons of different things, tons of different ways it could have went. And then the Matrix Revolutions, it was still open-ended, because what do you do now? There are peace, but you know peace wasn't going to last that long. That's what the architect talked about. Peace wasn't going to last that long. The Oracle, we don't know what fucking plan she had for Asante. We don't know what the Oracle was planning on. We don't know, hell, we don't even know who the Oracle is actually working for, or she just got her own agenda. Because you could kind of argue that the Oracle herself is some type of a rogue program. Because the architect is in line with the Das Machina and the rest of the machines, but the Oracle she's supposed to play a part, and she's supposed to have an intuitive program and understand and kind of know the feelings and the emotions, more than just the 1-0s and the logical things, and understand the emotional aspect of the human beings. But she also seems to be on their side. At the same time, doesn't seem to be on their side. we don't fucking know. And also, you saw how when they did the actress swap between the two different oracles, they even explained it. So they're not above switching out, actors or actresses or whatever, but acknowledging it in the movie itself. So with Morpheus or Lawrence Fishburne not being Morpheus in this movie, we know, because precedent has already been set, that Lana Wachowski, Lily wasn't there, which is formerly Andy, if I'm not mistaken. So what we know is that precedent is already set there, that they're going to explain in the movie why Morpheus looks different. And with Jessica Henwick's character, which her name is called Bugs, I mean, we don't even know what the fuck she is, right? We see the white rabbit tattoo on her, and then the white rabbit has a tattoo of itself, so it's a tattoo within a tattoo. And I love it, man. Like I said, we don't even know if he's in the Matrix or not. We just think he's in the Matrix, even though in the movie it says that he's going back to the Matrix, so we don't know where the fuck he's at. He might be in some other complete different simulation that the machines put him into as a way of here you're at peace, because the machines think that as far as putting the humans into the Matrix and let them live a separate life, so that put them in that peace, they think that's compassion, right? Which, let's be honest, even from a human aspect, some people do view that as compassion. And in the trailer itself, you see that some of the pods are missing from the fields. So some humans are taken out, the ones that want to be red pill, and then those that want to be blue pill are still in there. And I was always waiting for another Matrix to come out, because once the Matrix kind of caught up with the rest of us, and we started to realize, oh shit, are we in a simulation? Because a lot of stuff seems fake. And even if we're not in a supposed simulation in which some creator created this, there's still some type of simulation in place, because social media, right? The internet, everybody hops on and stuff. Everyone has fake personalities, fake personas, right? We're always constantly hit with propaganda in movies. Everything that we see on the news is fucking fake. It's a fake reality. It's a simulation within itself. So I was always excited about the Matrix having another Matrix 4 movie, having another movie itself, because it still affects how we are in real life today, where we constantly question what the fuck is real or not. Everyone seems fake. Everybody, we don't know who the fuck is actually themselves. People don't even realize who they actually are. So we're constantly questioning everything. And there's so many different ways this movie can go. So like I said, with Jessica Henwick's character having the blue hair, you see Morpheus is dressed in red and stuff, offering a red pill, but it makes you wonder, is Jessica Henwick's character, which is called Bugs, is that a bug in the system? Like a glitch in the Matrix? What is she? Is she even human, or is she a program? Because she's blue hair. Is she offering a blue pill? Is she trying to not wake Neo up, but trying to let Neo know that, hey, yeah, you did all this stuff with her, but your body's dying and stuff. Like, do you really care about this? Like, how about you just have this nice little life and just keep on going with that? And is Morpheus trying to wake him up because Morpheus is Morpheus in a new iteration of the Matrix, and he done tapped into wherever simulation Neo is in? You see where I'm going with all this stuff? There's so much to go on, but a lot of people are just fucking lazy. They don't want to think. But for people like me who see this Matrix stuff, it's like, oh my God, I'm excited, because there's so many thoughts I can have. Right? There's so many different ways you can go with. And I'm hoping there's at least one other movie after this. Hell, if they want to start a whole new trilogy, that's even fucking better. That's even better for me. There's so many different ways you can go with this. And I'm all for killing off characters. If Morpheus is actually dead, and this new version of Morpheus is still Morpheus, because remember, Morpheus is not his name. Right? It's just a handler. Right? It's just a handle. My fault. It's just an internet handle. Same as Trinity is not actually her name. It's just a handle. Neo technically doesn't have an actual fucking name, other than the handle, the name Neo he gave himself. But his blue pill name, what you want to call it, is Thomas Anderson. That's why you hear him call him Thomas. Thomas. They're not calling him Neo. But those that know him call him Neo. But at the same time, he's not. Hell, what is Trinity's blue pill name? Remember, Trinity was. It's like people don't even realize too that Trinity already had her own notoriety. She was a infamous hacker in the Matrix, in the simulation. So she was already her own entity, her own so-called strong female character. She already was that. And with Bugs, the blue hair girl, is she playing on a role of Trinity? Or, hell, is she playing a role of Cypher? There's so many different ways. You can't, people just look at a trailer and ready to pick it apart and stuff. Oh, is Woke Agenda this? Or, oh, I don't like what they're doing with Neo and stuff like that. Well, what the fuck, man? You got to slow this shit down frame by frame, because there's so much packed into this. I am so excited for this movie. and I haven't been excited for a movie forever. All the Marvel shit, I don't even give a fuck about. The Eternals is the Eternals in them, but fucking stories that Stan Lee and the rest of Marvel Comics took from ancient mythology. Story of Gilgamesh, that's Sumerian tale, and Gilgamesh is a character in Eternals. That's Athena. Those are all ancient mythology characters, though. Even the Matrix itself is taken from someone, and not the lady that tried to sue them and stuff, telling about she created it, because that's been proven false or whatever. But the overall theme in itself, that we're living in some type of simulation, that goes hundreds and thousands of years back anyway. So that's nothing new. And even machines taking over, that's Terminator as well. So these are recurring themes where they're kind of in line with our own so-called reality, wherever the hell we're at. But there's so much to unpack with the Matrix stuff. So I wanted to kind of check some of these videos out. So what we have here is this is Matrix 4. If I can scroll down a little bit. So Matrix 4 is not what you think. So this is from Matrix Explained. If you're really into the Matrix and you're so much on thought provoking and diving more into the universe of the Matrix itself, definitely check out Matrix Explained, because they filled in a lot of shit for me over the years. Cause I'm like, what the fuck? I never even thought about it. For a lot of it, the movie came out when we were in high school and stuff, kids. And yeah, you can understand it a little bit then. But even as a kid, I knew, like, damn, this shit's going in my head. I need to rewatch this over and over and over and over and over and over. Because when you watch it, there's a difference between plot holes and you just not understanding shit. I can see when things are plot holes, and I can hear things are plot holes, and I can see and hear that, hey, I just don't understand it. The first time I watched Matrix Reloaded, my first thought at the end of the movie was, yeah, I don't get everything that's going on, but I got the fact that Neo wasn't the first one, and this shit is a recurring thing and stuff. And as Neo told Morpheus, so there was a lot more going on to it. So every little path that he went on in the whole Matrix 4 was part of a simulation. It was supposed to go down that path. Matrix Revolution is what was kind of a whole different iteration. It was all thrown off because now they're exploring all different different, like Neo plugging into the Matrix without being plugged in, and Smith somehow fucking overwriting someone's consciousness and hopping into the real world and stuff. And Neo, there's some type of energy essence or something like that the machines themselves have, that if you're not tapped into it, you won't be able to see it. And that's why Neo can see them and stuff. And people are like, oh, people probably think that doesn't make sense, but that makes a lot of fucking sense. It makes a lot of fucking sense. Because Neo is not technically human in the way that us natural born humans are. There's something that was written in his consciousness, and it goes along too with like shows like Altered Carbon, where if your consciousness can be digitally uploaded and downloaded, and if your consciousness can be broken down to some type of code where it's ones and zeros, then makes you wonder, right? You can just put your consciousness into any body. Kind of like how the human body is a shell. Almost like how Ghost in the Shell is. That's what I'm talking about. This shit goes all over the fucking place. But I love shit like this because I love the fact that you have to question your own existence. So the whole Matrix theme is questioning your own existence, questioning reality, questioning what is real and what's not, whether it doesn't even matter. Questioning free will. Do you have it? Do you actually have a choice? Or are you just getting options? And no matter what options you're given, you're still being manipulated to choose a choice that the creator or the person, the entity designing those options, that fake illusion of choice for you, is manipulated to make the choice they want you to make anyways. So once again, did you still even have free will? Or was the choice that you made was always manipulated? There's so many different fucking things that can come out of this, man. But I want to kind of check out this video and stuff, man. And I'm just going to watch over and kind of pause it here and there, because there's a couple of things I want to get out, but I can't fucking remember. So that's why I got to watch the video.
The Matrix Resurrections trailer, we got a glimpse of the movie's plot. The story of a depressed Thomas Anderson drinking blue pills delirious, and questioning reality. But what are those blue pills in Matrix for? Do other people take them, or just Thomas? Why was the
God, I was freezing right now. See, they're showing the Matrix film, the first Matrix film, within this whole new Matrix movie, but we don't even know if it's in the Matrix itself, in the movie itself. That right there fucking loses half the people. Because nobody wants to think when they go into a movie. But I don't understand, because there's plenty of mindless, like mind-numbing, dumbass fucking movies out there. So when a movie comes across and it makes me sit down and actually think about what the fuck is going on, you know, I get excited, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. I get excited. I get turned on. I'm like, the nerd in me, I just started to geek out like I am right now. Like, oh yeah, I'm so excited. Because I get to think, right? I get to think. And you know, you have a bunch of fan theories, but these fan theories are warranted because it's so many different ways that you can go with all this. Hell, that's why I like when the best people to write a movie or TV show or stuff like that should be the ones that are the fans of it, because they embody and they think about it in such a different manner that most people won't even comprehend. Like, the Matrix 4 is made for fans. Because if it wasn't made for fans, they literally could have did a cash grab, rebooted the shit, rebooted the Matrix itself and started over again and blah, blah. Easily. But this is not a goddamn fucking reboot. It's not even a soft reboot, because we don't know what we're looking at is a fucking Matrix. I love it.
The Matrix being projected in the Resurrections trailer? What if I told you that the secret of Matrix
See, look, he shows the powers. He's blocking the bullet stuff from Trinity. Somebody was like, oh, well, Trinity, look, she can do this and she has that power and stuff like that. Well, once again, we don't know if they're in the Matrix. We don't know where they're at. And Trinity, in essence, has some of the anomaly code in her as well, whenever she is in some type of simulation. And we don't even know if that triggered over into the real world as well. And how many times you see what is it, like well, she got implanted with a couple of pipes. I mean, it looked like they hit some key areas and stuff, but once again, you don't think the machines have technology to heal human bodies? They just don't, because they don't care. But they literally clone humans and grow them, right? That's what Morpheus said. Human beings are no longer being born, but they're being grown, like a lab, like in a lab and stuff, being created. So they easily could just heal her body and stuff. They can easily heal Neo's body if they want to. They can do a lot of different things.
Resurrections can be found in some old comic books. Today we're going to take a look at the secret of the blue pill in Matrix Resurrections. Welcome to Matrix Explained.
Welcome to the desert of the real.
The original trilogy showed us what happens when a person takes the red pill, when they decide to seek the path of the truth. Neo was enlightened upon awakening to reality after finding the answer to the question, what is the Matrix? But what would have happened if Neo took the blue pill? In a previous video, we talked about one of the Matrix comics titled, A Life Less Empty.
And see, the thing about the Matrix comics, we don't know if the Wachowskis signed off on it or not. And people don't even understand too, like a lot of times, like you have with Star Wars, Star Trek, other things, like they have comics where it's licensed off, but not necessarily the original creators, you know, agreed upon it. But like Matrix Online, the original, the Wachowskis signed off on that, as far as the storylines, the plot lines, stuff like that. And the same with the Animatrix. Some of these comics, like this says right here, from Concepts by Larry and Andy Wachowski, which is now Lana and Lily Wachowski. Yeah, it's funny. See how easy it is too? Like, I don't agree with that shit. I don't agree with no transgender and stuff like that. But hey, if they want me called that, I'll call them that. I'm fine with that. Not my business. Whatever. It's that simple. You just move on, because no one gives a shit. That's their own personal life. As long as they create the shit that I fucking like, I'm good. I don't give a fuck what's going on in their personal lives. Hey, just keep creating the fucking thing that I love. They're great to me. They're all right with me.
the story of a woman named Tara who chose the blue pill. Later, her life was filled with sadness, depression, and questioning what could have been. Answers to questions that she will never know. Before Neo met Morpheus, for a moment, he doubted Trinity and Switch. Neo was about to get out of the car back to his mundane life, but Trinity convinces him to stay in the car and meet with Morpheus, telling him what is waiting for him down that empty road.
You have to trust me.
Why?
Because you have been down there, Neo. You know that road. You know exactly where it ends. And I know that's not where you want to be.
The empty road leads to sadness and unanswered questions, a life without purpose, like that of the woman in the comic, The Matrix.
Oh,
My job
like,
is
what
to
the
make
fuck?
college
God
easier because
damn
students
ass,
have
man.
a lot on their
The Matrix Resurrections trailer shows Neo walking down a street where you can see a one-way street sign pointing to the simulate car.
It's in the fucking detail. There's so many I love it. I love it when things have so much detail, which is wild for me because I've probably always just been a person of detail and stuff. I just probably just didn't realize it. But when you have so much details, there's so much you can take away. And then as a writer yourself, it leaves you open to creativity. It leaves you open to take down multiple paths, because why would you limit yourself to a kind of strict, narrow-minded storyline? Always have a bunch of different multiple pathways you can take. That way, no matter which path you take as far as writing and the plot and subplots, it won't seem like you just pulled it out of your ass. It won't seem like it came out of nowhere. So the way Matrix has been set up, anything and everything is possible. However you want to do it is possible, and it makes sense within the universe of the Matrix itself. That's what people have to forget. Don't think about what the fuck, how I said, if people are like, oh, there's a woke agenda, blah, blah. Doesn't matter with the Matrix, because it's already, like, the fucking thing doesn't exist. It's a computer simulation, so you can do whatever the fuck you want.
Coffee shop, one way, as in Switch's ultimatum. Neo is trapped in the life that could have been if he had taken the blue pill. Thomas lives out his sad days, questioning reality. There is even a clip of him in his bathtub with a tear in his eye. This is Thomas Anderson if he had never woken up. Now the blue pills appear to have a new function. In the first movie, the blue pill was more symbolic. It was to continue to live in ignorance, possibly a sedative.
And you see how in the Matrix itself, in the first couple movies, in the original trilogy, it was always kind of green undertone, because the green code, you see a lot of it. But in the trailer, you see bright world and stuff. And you wonder, is that the Matrix, or is it a different simulation? But no matter which way it goes about, guess what? Santi being there creates something different, because she was a program where she brought light. She was like, oh, look, I made the sun come up, stuff like that. Like, so her being there, we don't know the effect of her being there. We don't even know the powers that she might have as a program. We don't fucking know anything about Santi.
Morpheus mentioned that Neo would wake up in his bed.
You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe.
The pill did not erase a person's memories, because as we saw in the comic, A Life Less Empty, Tara remembered meeting Morpheus and was still living her same life with the same problems. So we must assume that now the blue pill has been modified by the machines to serve various new purposes. In previous videos, we explained that when Neo grabs his medicine bottle, the prescription is labeled untanafluxin, which is a word combination of ontology, which is a branch of philosophy that studies reality, and fluxin, which is a medication that eliminates viruses.
Now, how many people knew that shit? Right?
The
How
blue
many
pill
people
was
knew that?
designed to treat the mental illness of questioning reality.
You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life. That there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there.
It just showed the birds moving in a swarm, almost how the sentinels move in a swarm. In wherever simulation that he's in, that we're not going to call the Matrix yet, because we don't fucking know what simulation that he's in.
Splinter in your mind, driving you mad.
The pill attempts to suppress these desires while possibly causing amnesia. In case you haven't noticed, This pill is produced by a pharmaceutical company called Folly Bridge, which is a reference to a bridge in the United Kingdoms where the author of Alice in Wonderland went for inspiration.
Get the fuck out of
blue
here, bro.
pills are mass-produced for the people connected in the simulation. But why would other people take this blue pill? The blue pill was once a simple alternative, but now it appears to be another system of control. So what changed? The answer to this could be found in Matrix Revolutions. Most, if not all the humans connected to the simulation were assimilated by Agent Smith. Although the architect...
Remember, after the end of Matrix 4, after the end of Matrix Revolutions, when it showed that the architect and Asante and the Oracle, along with Sith, they're all back there or whatever. In the Matrix, that we think they're in the Matrix. We don't really know where they're at. We don't really know where they're at. So the Matrix itself was already rebooted. So people are like, oh, this is just a reboot. It's not a reboot, and it's not a soft reboot because the Matrix itself was already rebooted in the Matrix Revolutions. And it's not a reboot of a movie. It would be a reboot of the Matrix in the Matrix universe, but it's still a continuation of it. Oh man, see, and that's what a good movie should do. That's what a good story should do. Make you question a bunch of things, but it's not plot holes questioning. It's in the expansion of the universe, same as in your own so-called reality. You question a lot of things you don't have the answers to, but there's endless amount of possibilities.
I did reboot the Matrix. Some people could subconsciously remember what had happened, causing them night terrors and post-traumatic stress, ergo resulting in many humans beginning to wake up from the simulation. Remember that a truce was reached between Machine City and Zion. The architect promised that those who wish to be freed can do so, but maybe too many humans began to awaken at the same time. So the architect had to design a new method of control for those who remembered what had happened with Smith, having them take the blue pill to control their thoughts. However, a single pill cannot work because many people will remember the Smith virus incident. Even if it's only a small portion of the population that remembers, that's more than enough to destroy the integrity of the Matrix.
Exactly, the Matrix.
Since I started Noom,
I've lost 70
The Matrix
pounds.
itself
I've
is
lost
big enough.
97 pounds with Noom.
I've lost 92 pounds.
A great
Like the Matrix itself is more than just a city that we saw. If you've seen some of the animatrix things, you'll see that they were in Tokyo. Or not Tokyo, they were in Japan. Stuff was in Japanese and whatnot. So the Matrix itself goes into other cities, or what we think are cities.
way to mask the incident is by turning it into something from a movie, explaining why during the Matrix 4 trailer, we see the Matrix 1 being projected as a movie. The people in the simulation may be convinced that everything that happened was a movie.
Now I like that theory right there because that's once again plausible. That's very plausible that, hey, because the machines are going to try to find some way to control everybody, or at least the ones that want to remain blue pilled, and that goes along with the truth in itself. So how do you keep that subconsciousness? How do you keep that reality suppressed? Well, let them just think that, oh, hey, yeah, what you thought happened wasn't real. It's just a fucking movie. Which is interesting because that's actually what's done in real life. Right? We talk about 9/11, since that just happened yesterday, and I told myself I was going to do something about 9/11, something I didn't. But I will right now. So it's like you talk about 9/11, you go back and watch those video clips and stuff, that shit doesn't look real. Right? None of it looks real. None of it looks real. The building, the plane going to the building exploding doesn't look real. The explosions don't look fucking real. The way the building collapsed itself within itself doesn't look fucking real. You can tell like something orchestrated and created all this illusion. Yes, people died and stuff. Yes, things happened. There was destruction, but as far as the manner in which they talked about it, it's not real. It's not real. You don't think it's interesting that this Matrix 4 trailer, Question Reality, came out a couple days before 9/11 anniversary, 20-year anniversary? You just think that's a coincidence? I guess it is a coincidence, huh? Maybe it is. I didn't know about it. I didn't know this trailer was coming out until like a day before. Maybe it's just coincidence. But at the same time, makes you wonder, questioning reality. They can, and then they make movies called 9/11 and stuff, or not called 9/11. And then they make movies about 9/11, all these different things. That's propaganda. Why would you watch that? You don't need to watch a movie. You remember how old you were when you watched what happened. I remember exactly where I was at and what I was doing. And the first thought I had when I was watching that, I was like, oh my God, this shit looks fake. The first thought I had when I seen 9/11, when I seen a plane fly into the Twin Towers, my first thought was, this shit is fake. This shit don't even look real. And I remember sitting there questioning, like, man, I shouldn't say that because people are dying. But I'm like, this shit still doesn't look real, man. Something about it doesn't look real because the origin of itself cannot be real. Now, the effects can be real, obviously, because how we perceive it, and people are injured, people die, smoke, your first responder and stuff like that, all that is real. But how it happened, we don't know. You have to question it. But what's a good way to suppress the minds of people that are waking up? I hate saying that word, but how do you suppress the minds of people that are starting to become aware of what's going on and question their reality? Oh, what do? Show them a movie. And then you're like, oh, man, see, oh, okay, well, never mind. So now they put it in the movie. I get it. I understand why I thought of this way. Perfect way to manipulate someone, question their own reality.
Now you may be thinking that this is an overcomplicated plot that deviates too much from the movie, but if you have been subscribed to this channel long enough, you might remember the story of another comic titled, Get It? Believe it or not, this comic could have inspired the plot of Matrix Resurrections. The comic was published back in the year 2000, after the premiere of The Matrix. The Matrix comics are part of the extended universe. The story of this comic is of a man who saw the movie The Matrix with his friends. The man did not understand the film, and his friends tried to explain the plot to him without success. It's a humorous comic that criticizes those who didn't understand the film, but it ends with a major plot twist. When the man gives up and decides to leave the diner, it is revealed that his friends and the people present were all agents. One of the agents tells the other agent that it's better for the man not to understand the film, because the fewer people who understand it, the fewer they have to destroy. This comic happens within a simulation, and within this simulation, there is the movie, The Matrix. In other words, a comic from over 20 years ago established the idea that the movie The Matrix exists within the Matrix.
And there you go. And there you go. And there you go right there. So how do we not know that the Matrix 4 trailer we just saw is within this simulation that you see Neo and Trinity in? But it's not the real Matrix in which we saw in the first movie. And you know how you're all over the place, and you can sit there and be like, oh no, that's stupid, doesn't make sense, there's no plot holes. No. Just because something doesn't make sense sometimes doesn't mean that it's completely stupid. And this comes from me, who always like, oh man, that shit don't make sense, it's dumb, it's bullshit, it's dumb. But I said along with this movie because this movie makes sense. I don't know how it goes over people's heads because it's not that hard. It's not like it's complicated. Even though it seems complex, it's not. It's really not. Long as the whole theme of the movie is to question reality. And yeah, you can have some religious tones in there because, well, now it's called Resurrection and Neo was the savior, Christ-like character, blah, blah, whatnot. Okay, cool, whatever. But the whole thing is question reality. So as long as you always question reality, the movie always makes sense. Period. And they let you know when it's the real world and when it's not the real world. Period. They establish the laws and the governance in the Matrix and what goes on, how it can affect you. And it said, your mind makes it real. So if you die in the Matrix, you die in the real world. Because but really your brain just your body goes dead, but really your brain is still, as long as it has some synapses, some firings off in a neurological pathway, you should be good. Because think about it, the machines are advanced enough to create and clone humans that, as far as say you have someone that's paralyzed or something like that, or is comatose or in a coma, they can still be alive, technically speaking, through their own brain waves and patterns in the Matrix. But their bodies are useless in the real world. So you always have that thing going on in there. But there's always a bunch of like different little instances or not instances. There's always a bunch of different ways you can go about it. And even as a kid, I understood. I got the Matrix. And the thing is, if you don't get it, just rewatch it. Yeah, like it's not that hard. You just rewatch it. I think I had the Matrix on DVD because DVD players really came about. When it became really commercial and the average household can have was around when the Matrix came out in '99, 2000, stuff like that. And having them, I used to watch the behind the scenes stuff on the Matrix DVD and whatnot. I used to love that shit, man. There's so much to it. But just as this comic is talking about, like, you don't really know what's going on, and as far as it's easy for the machines to make different iterations of the Matrix itself. So understanding computer programming, and when you create a new program, a new software, a new type of simulation or whatever. So take it as like a video game. When you create a video game and you have the video game and it's established stuff, you can start from scratch with the original code and rebuild it. Or if you already have built and you want to make some minor tweaks and stuff, what you do is thing called sandboxing. You'll copy the code but place it on a different server itself, so that way it doesn't interact with the main source simulation or whatever program that you're running, but it kind of runs parallel to it, but they don't interact with each other. But at the same time, there is a connection. Only the original programmers would know how they connect though. But you can have the Matrix itself, and then you have a parallel simulation next to it where call it a sandbox, where you're testing out different programs, software, different antivirus software programs. You're testing out different things in that sandbox before you put it into the main Matrix. They do it all the time. Just called an upload or an update. That's where the updates and the uploads and stuff like that, the patches, that's where it comes from. All those hot fixes that you have in video games and different software programs on your phone, applications, stuff like that. When you update it and it's like a 50-something gigabyte update, well, they tested somewhere else a program that's running parallel along this application in a different sandbox itself, and then bringing it over to the main application, main program, the main simulation, wherever you want to call it. So you also gotta have a kind of basic understanding of computer networking and stuff to even get and I think that's where people get lost, because the Matrix came out at the end of an era, really the tail end of an era, as far as hacking. In the late 80s, early 90s, when computers and the internet was getting big, it was hacking and stuff like that. That was kind of your cyberpunk thing that was kind of going on and stuff like that. Now nobody cares about computers, even though our world is really revolved and almost dominated by computers. And the more computers that we are, and the more computer electronics that we have, people still don't understand how the fuck the technology actually works, which is interesting, because you would think we all have a basic understanding of computer knowledge, but we don't. Which is wild. So go back into the late 1999 and stuff like that. The internet was just coming about. So all these different things that what was talked about in the original Matrix, a lot of it, it's just computer code. That's it. Just computer code. That's it. So when things go over people's head, sometimes just because they don't have a basic understanding of computer code, software, networking.
This happens in Matrix Resurrections, which confirms that the Get It comic book is canon. The machines have created the movie The Matrix within the Matrix, so that those who remember the events or understand the plot of the movie are quickly removed or isolated and prescribed the blue pills to suppress these supposed delusions. If a person begins to have nightmares of the Smith virus...
So he can even be within the Matrix. He can be in a simulation within the overall Matrix simulation, but can't really interact with it, but understands, but in his consciousness understand that something had happened. But that's when they show you the movie, like, oh, you thought you you thought you felt it, but really you just remember the movie you watched that you don't remember watching, which is kind of like deja vu.
They will be diagnosed by a psychiatrist and be given ontanafluxin. Those who don't understand anything about the movie will be left alone, just like the dimwit from the comic. Also, the blue pills could be used by the red pills who want to be reconnected and forget the real world. The issues of the blue pills and the Matrix movie within the Matrix gives us lots to talk about. Matrix 4 does seem to take...
And there you go. Was our Prince, wherever her name is, I forget how you say her name. There goes Asante though, all grown up, closing a book. What was it, Alice in Wonderland or Alice Through the Looking Glass?
Inspiration from the comics, and hopefully the Matrix Online, proving that all Matrix content is important. It would be ironic that a humorous comic considered by many as non-canon could be the key to the plot of Matrix Resurrections.
Which I'm about to go look up the comment later on.
Do these comic books help explain some important plot points of Matrix 4? In the description, there will be a link to the playlist with all the videos related to the Matrix comics.
Do you feel not like yourself? Has depression led you to...
Oh, this freaks you out because they show an ad, even though it's not an ad. It's just a video of an ad that they made themselves. That kind of fucks you up a little bit. I want to see what the link is. I want to see what the link is though for it, because this, as I said, there's so much too. They didn't have the link in here. He just said there'll be a link in the script. Okay, here it is. It's the first fucking thing, my dumb ass. They don't have a link in here. What are you talking about? They have an article here too talking about how Mateen, Abdul Mateen II confirms he's Yahya. I don't even know how to say his name. So he's confirming that he is that. But yeah, Fishburne said he was in the Matrix and he was never asked to be in the Matrix. I mean, they could have just killed off his character, which I'm not, but I don't mind that. I like it when characters get killed off. People sometimes a little bit, they're too worried about characters being killed off and stuff like that. And I was okay, I'm gonna have to watch this separately then. I might have to do another episode or something. Let's see what I want to do. I'm gonna save this playlist and watch it. There's a lot of fucking things to this. You know what? Let's see if we can check out this video. 8 minutes long.
We really wanted a new home, but selling seemed really stressful. Knock was the perfect solution. They let us move.
Just talking about to get it.
A
Matrix
meta
comic.
theory about the Matrix movie is the notion that its creators did not make a science fiction film, but instead a piece of visual art that symbolically narrates our real life. We've received many comments asking our opinion about the reality of the Matrix. What if it's not a movie, but a documentary? Well, there is a comic that explores that very same question. So let's read it. Welcome to Matrix Explained.
Never knew this shit existed. Never knew. I mean, it makes sense. Star Trek, Star Wars.
To the desert of the real.
Tons of these cinematic
The
universes
theory
have
about the super reality
movies
of
and
the
stuff.
Matrix proposes that the film is an allegory of our day-to-day lives. We can identify multiple metaphors, such as Plato or the governmental control over people. But for the believers of this Matrix theory, they think that our reality is false and that someone or something similar to the machines are controlling us. The Matrix comic book titled Get It is a strange one within the collection. This comic tells the story of a man who saw the movie The Matrix but did not understand it. 3 friends left the cinema. 2 of them talk about how incredible the movie was, and one of them just cannot understand it. His lack of comprehension baffles his friends. They don't understand how he doesn't understand. Understand? Anyways, they converse as to why the Matrix is so incomprehensible for this man. Like, was Keanu Reeves dreaming at the beginning of the movie? Or was the rest of it a dream? And how were they able to squeeze their bodies through the phone lines? Oh, brother. Where do I begin? His two friends answered individually. You mean you were sitting there scratching your head through the whole thing? The man answers back. Well, yeah. His friends tried to explain to him that the beginning of the film was a dream, to which the young man replies, but people got killed in that part, so how could it be a dream? That's a valid question, and is one of the points that theorists of the Matrix within the Matrix hypothesis uses to explain that everything could be a simulation, including the real world. The man's questions begin to frustrate his friends,
It all could
so
be
they
a
try
complete
to
simulation.
summarize what the film was about. It's not so much as a dream as it is a state of manufactured reality, see? Manufactured by whom? By artificial intelligence.
And so that goes back to what I was talking about, like, how do you not know we are in a manufactured reality? How you know and not even just our overall existence, but, well, yeah, our overall existence, but as well as I was talking about with the whole 9/11 thing. How many things in history that has been written, and we know, you know what, that shit don't make sense. How? And you're questioning it, and like you question like a movie, and it's like, hey, these are all the plot holes, or you're not telling me the whole information, right? 9/11 sounds one big ass horrible plot hole movie because we're not given the whole information. But see, they gloss over it and start trying to alter our reality of it all, even though we witness it in real time, or what we think is real time. I don't care what no one says. If we're our reality itself is one big ass simulation. I was coming home from the Bucks game Thursday night, and me and my two friends were in the car. We're on the way driving back to the game. My friend and her friend, and we're sitting there talking about something. Oh, it was talking about the license plate tags, and I was talking about how I never got a personalized one and so that. And as we're sitting there talking about it, I was like, oh yeah, you know, some people get those certain tags and they have certain names. And I was like, maybe I'll do that one day or something like that. Because we were talking about now we see a lot more Bucks tags and flags stuff because everybody's a goddamn Bucks fan because we won a Super Bowl. So I'm sitting there and my first thought is that I better not see no goddamn personalized license plate next to me on this fucking highway. I'm driving on I-4. Right? It's like 12 o'clock, 1 a.m. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I better not see no goddamn personalized license plate. And then what do I see? Literally, not even a second later, a vehicle pulls out in front of me. I'm on the left side. Yeah, I'm in the left lane, and in the middle lane to my right, vehicle pulls up goes a little bit faster than me, and then I see it. It's like King 1. I was like, goddamn. I was like, you can't tell me we're not in a simulation. I just sat here and said, I better not see a personalized license plate. Because I know that the fact that I thought about a personalized license plate, that there was going to be a personalized license plate pull up right next to me. And sure enough, a personalized license plate pull up right next to me. I don't give a fuck what no one says. It's a goddamn simulation.
No, the machines. But what machines? I didn't see any machines. The friends continued to explain. That's because the entire planet had been taken over by them. It's like the whole world had become one giant machine, see? I suppose. But then who were those android dudes? I thought they were the bad guys, but I still don't get how they traveled through the phone lines. Oy vey. I give up. This comic book seems to be comical, as it is a satire of our friends or relatives who just can't understand the story of a movie, and we just give up on trying to explain it to them. But just wait. The confused man calls it a night. I had a good time, though even if the flick did go over my head. And thanks for the beer, you guys. Don't mention it. And don't worry about the movie. I'm sure a lot of people didn't get it. And here's the twist. As the man turns to leave the pub, everyone seems to be acting a little suspicious, including his friends. And it's a good thing that they don't. Right, Agent Lewis? Correct, Agent Davis. The fewer humanoids who comprehend what's really going on, the fewer we must destroy. This comic takes place inside the Matrix, where a film titled The Matrix is being shown in theaters. Now there are two ways to interpret this comic. One is that the Red Pills could be trying to awaken the humans inside the simulation to the truth by using fictional media and entertainment. Making a movie titled The Matrix about a world inside a simulation could lead many people to ponder and question their reality, making it easier to wake them up. The other is that this breaking of the fourth wall could be referring to our reality, stating that if we were to fully understand the Matrix, the agents will come after us. The comical vibe of this comic quickly turns cold. That's because many of us who saw the film wondered if it could have any standing in reality. After The Matrix premiered, many people did begin to question reality and the possibility that we could be living in a simulation.
Ever since then, ever since 1999, everybody's been questioning all this stuff. And then as so-called people become more awoken and everybody's been having their ass on the internet and YouTube and Reddit forums and reading all this other different shit, everybody's questioning, you know, what do we exist? What's going on? Is this fake? Is that fake? We're constantly questioning reality. Even though the concept of the Matrix itself is nothing new.
Being manipulated by beings superior to ourselves. Also in the film, we can see several similarities with the allegory of the cave by Plato. This allegory asks to imagine that several men are tied in a cave since birth. They cannot even move their heads. They can only see the wall directly in front of them, from which they can see shadows of animal statues and other objects that are passing in front of the light of a big bonfire that's behind them, like a movie projector. These men will think that those shadows are from real creatures, because they cannot look at what's behind them. If one of the men is released, he will not only discover that what was making those shadows is not real, but by escaping the cave, he will see that the light that was shining was not a bonfire, but from the sun. The sunlight will hurt him and produce blindness, because he had never seen the sun before. He will eventually adapt and would realize that he has been deceived his entire life. He may return to the cave to tell the other men how the real world looks like, but they will just say that he is crazy, because their vision of reality is limited to the shadows on the wall. Just like in the movie after Neo awakens from the Matrix and asks, "Why does my eyes hurt?" This is a clear reference to the myth of Plato's cave. Neo has been imprisoned all his life in a reality imposed in front of his eyes, like the men in the cave.
Like I said, Neo himself doesn't even understand the real world. And then, like Trinity, when they had flew above the clouds in Matrix Revolutions towards the end, when they're on their way to Machine City, she was so shocked because she'd never seen the fucking sun before. Now, I don't know if it's been explained in the comics or somewhere along the line. I'm sure it probably has, or at least it's been thrown out there, some type of thought as to why they can't. It might have been the Animatrix when they explained it, what happened, why the machines can't block out or let me say why they can't remove the cloud or wherever the thing that's blocking the sun out. But at the same time, it's in their benefit because they can get the energy source from the human beings, and they can also suppress human beings by keeping the sunlight away from them and keeping them underground.
He realized that it was all a hoax. The allegory of Plato is usually used to explain how some people limit the reasonings of reality based on what they can only see in front of them, and label those who do not share their vision of reality as crazy. The simulated world is a theory that has been continuously studied by scientists, even to this day. And although the Matrix is over 20 years old, this theory has been documented as a possible explanation for reality and its many mysteries. Visionaries such as Elon Musk have affirmed multiple times that we live in the Matrix.
I don't call him a visionary.
You and I are just looking at each other through our eyes. I see you, you see me. I hope.
You think so?
I think you probably have regular eyes.
This could be some simulation.
It could. Do you entertain that?
If you assume any rate of improvement at all, then games will be indistinguishable from reality.
This comic is a bait and switch. The art style and dialogue are humorous. However, the payoff is dark and interesting. The thought that if we were to ever truly understand what reality or the Matrix film is, could lead to our destruction. But do you agree? Are the creators of the Matrix visionaries, not only in the film industry, but also in the hypothesis of our reality? Is the Matrix science fiction or something more?
Like I said, man, you can go so many different ways with the Matrix and how many, it's so much more to it. And I say it because like they were just saying in what I said earlier. The whole the theme itself of that we possibly in a simulation, a false illusion reality, it's nothing new. We could be in a simulation placed on us by advanced human beings who just want to understand the early days of the early days of human civilization. That's it. We could all be asleep inside a simulation because future human beings just want to understand what the fuck was going on. It's not, it can go so many different ways with that, and it's all mind blowing. But at the same time, it's really not that hard to understand. But for those that have never questioned their reality, that's where it comes at, because you're trying to break through that fourth wall, which makes you wonder too, because we're in the third dimension, and the fourth dimension would be the dimension of time. So if we break through that fourth wall and then you see time as spherical and happening all at the time, all at the same time, so there's no past, present, future, then it makes you wonder, is there, what is control, or what is choices, what is any of that? Does it actually matter? Because everything is happening all at the same time. But that kind of fucks people's head up as well too. Somebody said the fact we are still discussing this film over 2 decades after release says a lot. I'm living a simulation where it takes 20 years to explain a movie. Reading people's comments is funny, but let's see. Okay, you can't sort the comments. I want to see the newest one, because I feel like there's a lot more people should be popping up now. As far as since the new Matrix movie has been, new Matrix trailer has been out, a lot of people should be popping up on Matrix Explained and other different channels on YouTube, other different podcasts, wherever. You just sit and really question a lot of this stuff. But still, because wondering what else is going on. Neo starting to look more like the Train Man. I'll wait another 20 years. What may be known about, okay, and then it goes on. A bunch of different comments though. I'll probably just look at on my own later on and stuff. But that's all I got. Like, I just wanted to, I just had to come back and do a podcast, and I'll still be doing some sparingly here and there and stuff as I try to figure out my own personal life and get on a good schedule. And maybe I'll do my podcast on weekends only. Maybe just a once a week thing on every Sunday morning. I know I can I don't plan on working on Sunday, so I should be able to work out a Sunday morning schedule, wake up and do a podcast, something like that, like how I did today. Or I don't know, I'll figure something out. Try to find some type of routine where I at least have once a week. And yeah, of course, I ain't share my thoughts on a lot of different stuff going on, Afghanistan and all the different things about the viruses and whatever and whatnot. But I mean, for the most part, my thoughts are still the same. So if you listen to my past podcasts, or maybe maybe you're questioning, or maybe you're curious as to my thoughts on it, you can go back and listen to my past episodes, and my thoughts are pretty much the same. Everything's bullshit. I don't really believe nothing that they're telling us, and you don't even have to do that. You can just go look at the data itself and read the government's documents, and you'll see a lot of it is fake. So your reality, everything that you believe already, is fake anyway. So technically, you're already in the Matrix. I mean, everything you believe is fake. Oh, so we had a war in Afghanistan. The Afghanistan war. There was no war. There was no war. It's legally not even defined as a war. Only Congress can declare war, and Congress never declared this war. They just went over there. None of that stuff is technically a war in legal documents, legal terms, except for that's what they call a war on terror. But a war on terror is nothing. It's just another kind of workaround in order for you to go out and do certain things to certain people within a certain nation. Taliban don't actually exist. It's just some people who call themselves Taliban. It's not like they got a fucking uniform or anything. Like you're think about it. You should question your reality, because everything that you think you know don't fucking really matter anyway. It doesn't even exist. We think you know what space is, but you don't really know what space is, because you want to really know what space is until you get an idea. And the only way you can get an idea is if you actually see it. And if you do see it, you still probably wouldn't understand what it is anyways. We don't know what's on the dark side of the moon, even though they tell us there's nothing on the dark side of the moon but the same moon, but yet you don't get a chance to see it. We don't know what's out there in Mars, none of that stuff. We don't know what's in the depths of our own oceans. Some people never even leave the 30 miles that they grew up in. They don't even leave that area. So some people never even been nowhere in the world to even question reality beyond that. They just see stuff. So everything that you see, you don't even know if it's actually real. Mount Rushmore looks really cool, huh? That shit it's small as hell in real life. Stonehenge looks really cool, right? It's small. Not even that big. And you're like, this is kind of underwhelming. But it's your fault because you created a false reality and you perceive something more than what it is, as opposed to trying to use your senses, your real senses. Because yeah, you can see something, but you don't get to touch it because you just see an image, so you just take it for what it is. Hell, most of your family and friends got fake, false personality and persona and stuff on social media. You know they're faking out their ass. Doesn't matter. Think of all the pictures you see and stuff on social media. You think about your friends that you know, and then you'll see them with a cool picture, and it look like they're doing something, and they're somewhere, and you're like, oh man, that's cool. But in reality, motherfucker, they just went somewhere and took a picture and put filters on it, and that shit don't even look like it. What it is, what you think it is in real life, or what you call real life, what you see with your actual eyes. But what you see with your actual eyes, there are no filters. Hell, some of us don't even see colors. So wherever one person sees and wherever another person sees, not even exactly the same, because our vision is not even the same, and the way we perceive colors is not even the same. Man, I'm gonna leave y'all with that, man. So until next time.